This video is a general orientation of the Kent Wings website. I'm using Microsoft Windows version 7, the latest, and I'm using currently 3 browsers, all of which are open here on the desktop. The first is Internet Explorer, the Microsoft Windows default browser. I would recommend you use something else, and I'll just show you one reason why. It bears on the fact that the Internet Explorer browser is old-fashioned and it does not render web pages accurately. Here is an example. Look at this bit here in Internet Explorer. Now look at the same thing in Firefox. Notice how in Internet Explorer we have this long thin bit down here, whereas in Firefox we have something that's much more readable here. This section on the right is how it was written. This section on the left is how Internet Explorer renders it. Now if you think that that's perhaps just an accident, let me show you in Google Chrome. I'll just switch to Google Chrome. That's this browser here. And again, if you look at the section here, we're looking at, we're looking at something that is very like the section over here. On the left is Google Chrome, on the right is Firefox. Whereas if you remember, over here in Internet Explorer, we had this long, thin bit. In my view, this is an illustration that amply demonstrates the non-compliance of Internet Explorer with many websites. It's not just Kent Wings. This sort of thing can happen all over the place. So for this demonstration here on, I'm not going to use this. I'm closing it down. I'm not going to use Google Chrome. I'm closing that down. It's a good browser, but I'm more familiar with Firefox, and many people already have it. So I'm going to use this browser to illustrate how to move around the site. You'll notice firstly, as I narrow the window, how the text in this area follows, or rather reforms itself according to how narrow or wide the window is. The 2 sidebars stay the same. At the top here we have a number of tabs: Home, News, Forum, Events, and so on. Notice how they shade as I mouse over them. This is the page, the home page, that greets every visitor to the site here at kentwings.com. And it's a general introduction for people new to the site. It also contains over here a thing called a shout box, where anybody, you don't have to be registered to use it, as long as they fill in a name and an email, can say something. And you see Tony VB here. He's not yet registered at the site, but he's still been able to put this text in here. In other parts of the site, notably the forum over here, by clicking on that, we move to the forum area. You won't be able to enter posts unless you register. I'll go back now to where we were. If you want to register, you do that up here where it says register. Can you see up here on the top right? Once you've registered, you will be able to post in certain areas of the forum according to the level of permission or authority you're granted at the time of registration. For the average subscriber, this is certain minimal amount that enables you to post in the forum area. For others, such as club members and committee members, they may be able to post elsewhere on the site, and I'll point these out as we move around. For example, here in the news section, currently Chris Knight, I'm the webmaster, is the only person that can enter anything here yet. That's for two reasons. Very few people yet know how to use the site, and secondly, I don't want anybody messing it up through not knowing how to use it. Once I've got it working perfectly, I'll be able to grant permission to people to post in here, and they'll be able, if they wish, to directly enter news. For the moment, I suggest they email me, and I'll do it for them. The forum I've already indicated. Under events, we have things like what's happening, upcoming events, shown in a calendar form. I've also got upcoming events shown in a sidebar, which appears on several pages, including the home page. The difference between these two things is, apart from the fact that the layout is different, this only shows a certain number, 6 things, that are coming up, whereas the calendar can be switched using these things up here to any date. For example, if I wanted to look at September in 2011, I'd click September 2011, I'd click Go, and shortly a calendar for 2011 will appear, as it has just done. But as you see, there's no event entered yet. So this is the place where events will appear once they've been entered. At the moment, I'm the only person that can enter events, so if you want to enter an event, just let me have the details and I'll put it there for you. Saves you the hassle anyway. I'll now go back to our previous calendar. Here we are in September 2010, just to illustrate what happens. Here is an event. It was a mystery dinner run out. Let's just click on here and see what it's about. Oh, Peter's announced this in the write-out section. Okay, so I now know that if I want to know more about this, I should perhaps look in the write-out section. Okay, I'll do that. I'll go to the write-out section. Where is that? Well, that's actually in the forum. Let's head back there, and we'll go to the write-outs and events section here. If I click on that, then we'll see that Pete has said something about this run that was announced in the calendar. As you see, a pop-up appears, but I can also click on it, and then we see some posts about the run, replies from people who are coming and going, and so forth. What about photos? Over here, if I just click on the top tab, something will happen. If I click on either of these submenus, other things will happen. On the top tab, if I click on that, I see a few words about photos and the different options we have. I'm speaking here of 2 options. They actually are the options that are shown in the submenus. It won't always be like that, but if I click on one of these, this is people's photos using a particular kind of viewer, then you'll see that we have 2 galleries of photos. This is photos taken at the British Treffin in 2008. Let's just have a look at how we might view these. We could click on one, and then we'll get an image like this. If I don't like that, just click outside this area, or rather click back on the photo. Let's look at it viewing with this pick lens. Pick lens, what is that? Well, it's an interesting way of showing lots of photos. It goes full screen, and here we are. I can see different kinds of photos just by clicking. And I can exit by clicking here. In another video, I'll show you how PicLens can do something entirely different that's well worth doing. Now let's go to Photos, Picasna. Picasna is the deliberate misspelling of Picasa, which is a Google service that allows you to put photos online. And these things are links to different online galleries. For example, the Irish Trefn. It says there are 88 pictures here, and there they all are. This is a Picasa gallery online where I've placed pictures we took at the Irish Trefn in 2008. I'll close this now, just observing that you can click on a photo to get a larger picture. But we'll go back here and move on to videos. There are different collections of videos. I say nothing here. You actually have to go to a sub-menu. Let's look at the Goldwing collection. A bunch of Goldwing related videos. These are pretty well all YouTube videos. You just click on one to watch it. They're fun. And this guy is just incredible. Let's just stop that. He's noisy. Very noisy. And we'll go back to where we were. And instead click on Videos Funny. What have we got in the funny? Well, not much, I think, at the moment. I did post one the other day. Yeah, here it is, another YouTube video. If you click on that, you'll see the video. Moving on to resources. These are mainly links at present. Stuff that will be of use to you. Here's how you get in touch. You'll see the website of a bunch of UK clubs and a lot of European clubs. We'll go back to that page to see Goldwing related links. These are links to things that deal with Goldwing matters, but not necessarily clubs. Suppliers, for example, some miscellaneous stuff like insurance. If you click on one of these, the site will open in a new tab. You see here, Air Valley. You can still go back to to Kent Wings here. I'll just close this down now. The same applies to these other sites. Touring links, well, I hope people use their bikes for traveling around different places, the country that we live in, the country we don't live in, the countries we don't live in, the rest of the world. And here are some useful links to go to those sites that deal with bike riding elsewhere. They're very useful. I'll close this page down. Contact us. Well, if you need to contact the webmaster or somebody in the club, fill in this form. This thing here is sometimes difficult to read, and you have to put it in here. This is called a capture code. If you can't read it, then just click here, and it'll give you a new one. Sometimes you have to click through 2 or 3 before you can find one you can read easily. If you fill this in, somebody will get back to you. Who is the committee of the Kent Wings region of the Goldwing Owners Club of Great Britain? Well, if you click on here, this link will show you who they all are. If you need help, mostly at the moment about using the site, click on this one. And that'll give you some stuff about navigating around the site. And in due course, we'll have videos like this one that deal with more specific ways to use the site. For example, how do you post a picture? How do you post a video? That sort of thing. And just before I leave, I shouldn't forget this. This is a poll. I'd invite you to complete that. The question has been posed whether or not we should combine the Christmas party with the New Year dinner. Vote here. Let us know what you think.